It was just one sentence on a napkin, but it was the key that unlocked years of secrets and brought an empire to its knees. Imagine this: a bustling city, skyscrapers touching the clouds, and at the very top, a company called Innovatic, a giant in the tech world worth millions. Its CEO, a man named Alistair Finch, was the picture of success: charismatic, brilliant, and seemingly untouchable. But behind the polished glass doors and the flashy press conferences, a different story was unfolding. A story of broken promises, stolen ideas, and lives quietly ruined. Our story really begins not with Alistair, but with a man named David. David was once Alistair's partner, the quiet genius behind Innovatic's revolutionary technology. They were friends, visionaries who dreamed of changing the world from their shared garage office. David was the inventor, the heart. Alistair was the showman, the face. It was a perfect partnership, until it wasn't. As money and fame started rolling in, Alistair's ambition turned into something darker. He saw David not as a partner, but as a liability. One late night, Alistair presented David with a stack of papers. "Just some standard legal stuff," he'd said with a reassuring smile. Trusting his friend, David signed without a second thought. It was the biggest mistake of his life. Those papers weren't standard. They were a complete transfer of ownership. In a single stroke of a pen, David was legally erased from the company he built. He was pushed out with a meager severance package and a strict non-disclosure agreement that silenced him. Alistair had stolen his life's work. Heartbroken and betrayed, David faded into obscurity. He tried to fight it legally, but Alistair's army of lawyers was too powerful. They painted David as disgruntled and incompetent. The world only saw Alistair Finch, the self-made billionaire. Innovatic's sword, built on the foundation of David's stolen dreams. Meanwhile, David was left with nothing but the burning memory of betrayal. He took on odd jobs, his genius suppressed, watching from the shadows as the man who was once his best friend accepted awards for HIS inventions. Years passed. Innovatic became a global behemoth. Alistair Finch was on the cover of every business magazine, but deep within the company, a culture of fear and deception had taken root. Alistair ruled with an iron fist. He took credit for his employees' work, fired anyone who questioned him, and created a toxic environment where only loyalty to him mattered, not talent or integrity. Many brilliant minds came and went, their ideas absorbed into the Innovatic machine and their contributions forgotten. The company was a beautiful, shiny apple, but it was rotten to the core. Now, let's introduce Sarah, a young, ambitious journalist. She'd been assigned a puff piece on Alistair Finch, another story about his incredible journey. But Sarah had a knack for seeing cracks where others saw a polished surface. During her interviews, she noticed a pattern. Former employees spoke of Alistair in strangely guarded tones. They'd praise him publicly, but their eyes told a different story. She sensed a deep-seated fear. Her journalistic instincts told her there was more to this story than just another successful CEO. Sarah started digging. Going off the record, she spent weeks tracking down former Innovatic employees, people who had left the company years ago. Most were too scared to talk, bound by those same ironclad NDAs, but a few, fueled by a long-simmering sense of injustice, started to whisper. They told her stories of brilliant ideas being stolen, of being threatened into silence, of Alistair's ruthlessness. Each story was a piece of a puzzle, and they all pointed back to the company's mysterious origins. The name that kept coming up was David, but who was he? His name was nowhere in the official company history. After weeks of searching, Sarah finally found him. David was now a quiet, reserved man living a simple life, a shadow of the innovator he once was. He was hesitant to speak, the pain of the past still raw. "There's nothing I can do," he told her, the defeat heavy in his voice. He covered his tracks. "It's my word against his, and my word is worth nothing." Sarah felt a surge of empathy, but also determination. She knew he held the key. She just needed proof. She pleaded with him, assuring him she would protect him. Finally, David relented. He couldn't provide legal documents. Alistair had made sure of that. But he had something else. He led her to an old, dusty box in his attic. Inside were notebooks filled with schematics, early prototypes, and pages of handwritten notes detailing the core technology that Innovatic was built on. But the most important item was small, almost insignificant. It was a faded cocktail napkin. On it, in two distinct handwritings, was a crude drawing of their initial concept. Below it, a single sentence was scrawled in Alistair's younger, more flamboyant script: "You're the brains, I'm the face, we'll be unstoppable." It was from a night of celebration long before the betrayal. It wasn't a legal contract, but it was something more powerful. It was the truth. It was a tangible piece of their shared dream, a direct contradiction to the official story Alistair had spent millions to create. Armed with the napkin and David's notebooks, Sarah's investigation went into overdrive. The napkin was the emotional core of her story, the human element that legal jargon couldn't capture. She went back to the former employees she'd spoken with. Seeing the proof, seeing that David was willing to come forward, gave them courage. One by one they agreed to go on the record. their fear finally eclipsed by their desire for justice. A trickle of information turned into a flood. Sarah published her expose. It was an explosive multi-page feature that laid bare the rotten foundation of Innovatech. It started with the image of the napkin. The story detailed Alistair's calculated betrayal of David, backed up by David's own notebooks and corroborated by numerous former employees. It painted a devastating picture of a corporate predator who built his empire on lies. The fallout was immediate and catastrophic for Alistair. The public, who had once idolized him, was horrified. The story of the napkin, the symbol of a broken friendship and stolen dream, went viral. #JusticeForDavid started trending worldwide. The board of directors, facing immense pressure from plummeting stock prices and public outrage, had no choice. They launched an internal investigation, which quickly confirmed Sarah's findings. Within a week, Alistair Finch was forced to resign in disgrace, but it didn't end there. The expose opened the floodgates for dozens of lawsuits from other employees whose work had been stolen. The company, once a symbol of innovation, was now a symbol of corporate greed and deceit. Its value plummeted, and within a year Innovatech was acquired and dismantled, its name forever tarnished. An empire built on a lie had been brought down by a single sentence on a napkin, and David, he didn't seek fame or fortune, he just wanted the truth to be known. With the world now aware of his story, he received offers from all corners of the tech industry. He started a small consulting firm, mentoring young inventors to ensure they never suffered the same fate he did. He found his passion again, not in building an empire, but in fostering true innovation. It wasn't about revenge in the loud, dramatic sense. It was a silent, patient justice. It was proof that even after years in the dark, the truth, no matter how small or fragile, has the power to bring even the mightiest giants to their knees. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more content just like this. Let me know in the comments what you think about this incredible story of silent revenge. See you next time.